Hello, hello, what is up everybody? How is YouTube land today? We've got some destroyer shenanigans, right? So this was just sort of a picture perfect game as far as destroyer play goes. You know, we were playing to our sort of strengths and weaknesses of this particular ship, right? So Monogon is a tier 5 premium American destroyer, right? So we see what we're up against there. So I decided just for this one, like, I don't normally use my engine boost right off the bat. I do definitely play a little more crazy, a little more aggressively at the like lower tiers. I think once you start getting into like the 6 and the 7s, it doesn't work out as well, right? But down here, like 5 and under, like sometimes I can just play stupid and it's fun and I don't care if I win or lose, whatever, right? But I want to just like highlight, like, especially with like, you know, carrier changes that happened, you know, somewhat recently at this point. You know, if you're struggling with your win percent, you know, your win rate on, you know, especially with destroyers, my guess would be you're being a little too aggressive, right? So you can see here with this ship, now granted I only have 18 battles played, but you can also see that for max damage down at the bottom right, like I don't have like crazy huge amounts of damage that I've, you know, with like records and stuff like that, or XP even, right? So, but we do have an 83% win rate on this ship. And that's largely just because most of the time when I'm playing this ship, I'm going for like premium supply wins for like missions for the week. And so I just want to get the win. Like, this is like hardcore, like I just want the win. I don't care how well I do, right? So that's part of the reason why, you know, for those missions, you just need you need like 2 wins a week or whatever, and you get some crap, right? So that's part of why the win ratio on this particular ship is higher for me, right? So, but yeah, like, and granted, I don't have a lot of battles played. You know, if you look at my, like, if I go to like my California, which is also another tier 5, that I really like to play for premium missions, I think I've got like over 300 games in that ship, right? So my win ratio is definitely not quite as good. It's definitely, I think it's in like the 60%, you know, like the high and mid 60s, somewhere around there, right? So for my California, right? But this one here, like, the reason it's just, I feel like it's just so much easier to get wins with this is just because you can just play smart and you can be a good little boy destroyer and really help out your team. So what happened here, you know, we don't get challenged by an enemy destroyer, at least not early on here, right? So I'm able to just go get the zone capture for D, which of course started out red, right? And then mostly what I'm doing here is just spotting for my team, right? We're getting all these spots. We're picking up all these enemy ships on this other side over here. Meanwhile, my team, all the blues, you can see if you look on the minimap, are all kind of tucked away behind, you know, they've got some land between them and the enemies, right? So that's kind of what's happening here. We are doing more than just spotting, right? We're capping the zone, so that's going to help us out with points. And we actually lose a destroyer early on here, so now we're technically losing, but only by a little bit, right? But that's going to change once we cap this zone. And then, yeah, so I sent torpedoes after Queen Elizabeth, and then we sent some into the B hole as well, because I think there was a skein in there. So I was like, on the outside chance I can get like one sneaking in between the islands. Excuse me. We'd have we'd have a luck shot potentially, right? To get a hit on that skein, or if you decide to come back, come around the outside, like, you'd wind up meeting our torpedoes, hopefully, right? So, but that didn't work out. So we get the zone cap here. And I think what happened is the destroyer realized, he was smart and decided to come and challenge us because he saw the zone getting capped, right? So he knows there's an enemy destroyer over here. He knows I'm over here. He's gonna head this way, right? So, and technically he would have backup, right? But these battleships, if you think about battleships, they're gonna have their turret traverse speed's gonna be pretty slow, right? So, and my concealment's not the greatest with this. We're at 5.8. That's kind of not that great for a tier 5. So we get picked up first, so we're going to see ourselves get spotted here. And I know it's not the Queen Elizabeth because he's outside, you know, they're outside of the range, right? But I'm going to eye them up, shoot torpedo C. There we get spotted. And then a second later, the skein. So he has just a little bit better concealment than us, or it might have just been because he shot his guns too. So I'll send more torpedoes in that direction. But, you know, Skane's got decent, accurate guns, right? And I think that, like, if his team would have just helped shoot at me, he could have won this fight. But we're going to be able to outgun him here. We actually did have some help from the cruiser or somebody, right? And I held off on damage con until we actually got a fire triggered on us. And then I do have smokescreen too, so if I felt like I was gonna, like, getting close to losing this battle, or if his allies were shooting me a ton, I would have just hit the brakes and ducked into the smokescreen, right? And then tried to survive to fight again another day, right? But we're able to finish him off, and then everybody else right now on their team was outside of our gun range, so we immediately went unspotted. And then I kind of assumed he was gonna send some torpedoes, right? So we just were prepared for those. Typically you just turn into them, right? Like, you turn towards them. A lot of people make the mistake of, like, trying, you know, just naturally you want to turn away from the torpedoes, but that's not always the right call. Like, a lot of times you run into getting chased by one and it hits you right in the butt, but so turning into them is usually a better idea. Just, it's always circumstantial, right? So we will head directly towards between, you know, B and A over here, these zones where the enemies are, and see if we can't pick up and spot enemies again, right? So we're probably the only one picking up this New Mexico, and then, yeah, most of my team's probably able to shoot him as well. And then here we see Benson coming in. I was kind of confused what his plan was here, right? If he's gonna go in and challenge the zone, which I wouldn't think would be a good idea. Like, he knows there's got to be at least one, if not multiple, you know, ships on the other team in there. So I thought it was a little too aggressive on his part. He does end up coming into the zone. So I was like, kind of like, well, you know, if I knew he was going to do that, I would shoot some torps through there, right through there. But I was like, you know, if he's going to be smart, he's gonna go the other way, right? But he comes through, and I just take a wild guess on, like, where he might end up, right? And then I'm going to start shooting here, and then we'll just kind of pay attention if we see any bullets flying our way. We will use our smoke screen, right? So the Benson, like, it's, you know, I'm assuming he's hyper focused on, yeah, I was just checking the battleship to see if he was going to shoot at us, and then, yeah, we did see some rounds and some shells, whatever you guys call them these days, whatever you get. So we're going to stop and smoke. We're going to see if we can finish off the Benson. We do get lucky with torpedoes, but I think we finish him with our guns here. Yep. And then, yeah, so you see there's still some stuff flying our direction, so we're going to stay in our smoke. If this New York, I think if he didn't get spotted, so, you know, somebody else is spotting him since we're sitting in our smoke screen now. If he didn't get spotted by somebody else, we really wouldn't have anything to shoot, right? So I think it'd be kind of silly to sit in our smoke screen here. So if that was the case, I would have gone out of the smoke screen to pick him up, and then that would have let our teammates be able to see him, and then they would be able to shoot him, right? So he's going to get hyper picked on. He's literally broadside to half of our team. So as you can see, he took a big, between being unspotted and spotted again, he took a big hit. Plus we're shooting a bunch of fireballs at him. We're not getting a lot of damage on him, if any. In this case, he's probably got, you know, there is that sort of saturation mechanic, right, where you can only do so much damage to certain parts of the ship, and then you gotta hit other things, right? Omaha is being way too aggressive for an Omaha. Coming in like this. So we actually switched to AP here, because if he was going to stay broadside, we'd probably be able to get some pretty decent hits on him. Those, yeah. But he goes down quite quickly, and then we're going to just make a beeline for the A capture. So there is only one ship left, right? I doubt I'm going to be able to make it anywhere. You know, you could just, I mean, you do you here in this situation, right? But you could make the argument just try and go for the enemy ship to try and just get some extra hits and stuff, you know, before the game ends. I was like, you know what, I'll head for the cap, and try and get the zone capture, right? I like to try and get, like, you know, do things that get you XP and stuff like that, but I don't even think I make it to the zone capture before he goes down. He is also, you know, just kind of broadside sailing, right? Like, he's just, you know, exposing his sidewall and just gonna die quick from all these other ships that are... like, we still have 3 battleships that could probably shoot him. So he'll take a big hit here, and that will be game for us. I will go into... you know, we'll see what the leaderboard looks like. I don't remember if I got the top spot on this game or not. But it was such a good example of, like, you know, we went into enemy territory and we were able to spot the vast majority of their team. If you notice, like, throughout the match, all of their team that was on my side where we were spotting, like, just went down, right? So, like, everyone was helping shoot. We were spotting. We were able to contribute some pretty decent damage ourselves. We do get the top spot on the leaderboard by quite a bit, almost 1,000 more XP than the guy below us. I think the zone capture probably helps out quite a bit with that. I don't really know what does it, but and then yeah, walked away with almost 400,000 in silver as well. So that's a pretty good haul for a tier 5, right? And then yeah, I'm using Albert Cleave, so he's not a paid commander or anything like that, and actually the inspirations aren't even paid either. So we just go torpedo damage here. And then I'm using concealment, you know, destroyer detectability for my other inspiration. And then most of everything else is kind of the same sort of thought, right? Torpedo stuff here. I like reload time, and then concealment. Torpedo detectability here. This one's kind of nice. That makes it a little bit harder for enemies to see your torpedoes. You could go reload time. I'm not a huge fan of trying to boost range. It's usually not that great. Like, if the range on your torpedoes isn't that great, then 1% more isn't that much more, right? Then if it is good, then it's like, you know, do you really need that much range, right? So, smoke on the water. This one's a good one. A lot of the American destroyers have some pretty good smoke, so if you're buffing that even more, then your smoke screen lasts even longer. I'm almost always using Unstoppable for my legendary perk when I'm playing destroyers. Yeah, just you know, having the ability to move even if you've got engine damage is just huge, right? But yeah, so that is our video for today. A little bit of a tutorial / gameplay, kind of, you know, whatever you want to call it. But thank you guys so very, very much for watching my video all the way through. If you're not following the channel, please do so. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.